You got an opinion?
We will be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Ooh,
call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Okay, roll call.
Roxanne,
Here.
Larry,
Here.
Tom,
Yes.
Sean Lovett,
Here.
Lynn Polly,
Here.
John,
I believe so.
and Michelle Woodruff, absent.
Heather.
I'm muted, it's okay.
So we have one person online?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, the participation rules, if we get a big crowd coming in, then I'll read them, otherwise. We're not gonna limit you to, probably to 5 minutes, Heather. Heather, can you hear us? Okay, I said, we're not gonna limit you to 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know where my mute button is. So, oh, I was never muted. I'm so sorry. My husband walked in. I told me I had to be quiet.
You're good. Okay, minutes from the August 11th meeting.
I make a motion that we,
Oh, wait a minute, adoption of the agenda. I skipped
Oh.
that. Sorry.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, now approval of minutes, August 11th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting on August 11th.
Okay, John and Michelle, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Heather, are you here for public comment or?
Give an update on that, on the
She's-
plan.
Oh, okay, all right, so. Is there anybody else online for public comment?
No,
No? Okay. Correspondence? No. Okay, tabled business. Form a capital improvement committee. Abby, I'll let you. What are your ideas?
I think we all know that it's valid and important that we have the CIP committee. We had discussed previously the likelihood of having 2 board members and 2 members of the planning commission to be on that committee. My suggestion is that from the planning commission, the member be Michelle Palovich, as she's our board liaison. And then I would also be on, no, I'm sorry, from the board of trustees side.
Okay,
That I would be on the committee with Michelle, and then it would be up to you guys to designate 2 people from the planning commission to be on that committee with us.
okay. Is anybody interested in doing such? I don't know about Michelle,
So tell us more about what that entitles. And my question is when.
By law, we have to have a CIP
Right,
and we don't have one now. So it's like a 5-year plan.
yeah,
Like, do we want to build a new fire station to accommodate new size fire engines? Do we want to purchase land and make a township park? These ideas and everything start at the planning commission.
so I understand that, but isn't that what the planning commission is? So when we went to that capital improvement program
Okay,
and us go to that training, it said 6 to 8 people and usually it's your planning commission. Am I wrong?
well, I think it's 6 to 8 people, but you're saying 2 off the planning commission. How many off the?
we need to get it started somewhere.
Okay.
So if you got a small group together and started working on some ideas, bring them back here, and then they're discussed among everybody.
Okay, so it's not a planning commission. It's not discussed among the planning commission
It will
eventually.
eventually.
Okay.
Right, yeah, eventually it gets to the planning commission. This would just be like pre-planning commission, get some plans. Get some ideas, come back to you guys, get suggestions, take it back to the group.
Okay.
And we kind of had
Excellent.
We had proposed a couple little projects, like connecting bike paths and stuff like that.
Right,
Yep.
yeah,
That was, I mean, we got kind of started on it, but then we stopped and because we changed
Change directions.
supervisors, so.
Right.
But we kind of had a start and then, then there's a lot of other things, sewer, water, all that kind of stuff too.
Rich, Abby and I talked about it at the board level. So if we could get a couple people from the township, then, we're gonna have to get prices and so we can kind of figure out how much money we need to save and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you guys have already talked about it, that's great. So whoever represents the planning commission would bring those ideas.
Right. And other things to keep in mind with that are as far as like going out for grants and stuff like that. All that kind of stuff has to be in the master plan. It has to be in our CIP so that we can move forward with that and we're available to get the grant monies. So if we don't have that kind of stuff written down and actually have a plan to move forward with it, it's a lot more difficult to get grant funding for it. But if you say, look, this is in our CIP, this is something that we wanted to do in the next 5 years, it's easier to say,
Justify.
yeah, grant XYZ, we're asking for, $50,000 to do whatever. As you can see, it's in our master plan. It's in our CIP that we're trying to do this, whatever. And we already have it planned out what we want to do with it. So I think from my perspective, it's just kind of, it sounded to me like you guys have already discussed this a little bit. We haven't really done anything with it. I know that we've talked about it. Michelle and I have talked about it at least. So we kind of can bring a board perspective to it and throw out other ideas or potential, we know the budget better. So we can say, well, we have funding for this, or we would need matching grants for this, or however we're going to go about it. But it just kind of to bring us all together to be able to start having the conversations about what we need to do to plan for the future.
Cause we had, the bike path from Grant to US 23.
Mhm.
I think that got built, didn't it?
It did.
But
Yep.
I don't know that we did, was the township really in?
So the township funded it.
We did, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I started. I actually thought that it was just a grant that we received. I didn't realize it was not a grant. It was funded by the township.
Okay.
But then there's another, what's it called? Non-motorized path, whatever, extension that's supposed to go from, I think, Island Drive or from, I don't know, Bear Point somewhere over there down to Island Drive.
The MDOT.
That is an MDOT grant that we received and it's still in progress. They haven't broke ground on it yet, but they're,
Okay.
whatever. But it's those kind of things. So we can look to the future, looking at future land use and all that kind of stuff and say, this is what the township, the direction we want to go. And here's the things that we need to do to get there. Here's some future plans that we'd like to see happen.
And then we talked about a possible extension from, where does it end? At Sunset or on US 23 to the recreation trailer. We talked about that, extending that. That was what was on our mind.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
why we need to get together, talk about these things, have some actual plans put in place, look at what it's going to cost, look at the different grant options that we have. And just kind of have that communication, the open communication between the Board of Trustees, the Planning Commission, and get an actual plan put into place.
So is there somebody from the water department in this group too?
There could be.
Or could be? Okay.
Yeah, there could be. The water department has their own,
Isn't there a bunch of needs, like sewer, isn't the sewer really bad?
the water main, sewer, service lines, all of that stuff needs work. Yes,
Right, but that can only be funded
That-
through
correct.
the enterprise fund. We
Yeah.
can't take taxpayers' money and use it for the water.
Right. So the water fund is a completely separate account, only funded by the water and sewer customers. No tax dollars go into that. So like when you write your tax check to the township, $0 of that goes to the water fund. It's an enterprise fund, completely separate. But yes, those are still things that we could be talking about. Well, we know we want to do XYZ. And the reason for that is because if we are going to be replacing water main and sewer main, we need to be discussing the road restoration. For example, like the Princeton neighborhood, we know that the water and sewer needs to be looked at there and needs to be replaced. But I also know from talking to the road commission that it's a total reconstruct of all of the roads back there. So we need to have a plan in place for that, because when it happens, and it's going to happen sooner than later, the water department will have to fund the sewer and water mains, but the township is going to have to look at funding and grant options for fixing the roads, because the county can only match us 50%.
Special assessment.
Right.
Whatever.
So there's other things, but we need to be having those discussions about options that we have.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
So how often are you going to be meeting?
I don't think we have anything set in stone yet.
And
You
I
have
think, depending on everybody's schedule, it doesn't have to be nighttime meeting.
No.
I mean, people could do it during the day or whatever, I don't. Whatever works.
Yeah, I think it's whatever works. We have other, like the compensation committee meets during the day sometimes too. I think it's just whatever people are available for and what people want to do and how they want to interact with it. So just like I said, we need to start some.
I'm retired, so really, I do have a kid that I have to drag all over the place. He's my learning disabled kid. So like Tuesdays and Thursdays, he goes to the Aplex from 9 in the morning till 12. And I'm free. Monday night, usually he goes to Monday night activities at St. Bernard's Church, but his girlfriend's out of town, so he doesn't want to go without her. So, yeah, it's kind of a toss up with that kid.
Yeah, I think the potential is very flexible.
Right.
It would be whatever, because obviously we need everybody, we need whoever is going to do it. We need them to be committed to doing it and be on board to, otherwise it's just going to be Michelle and I talking about whatever we want to talk about, you know, and we can do that anyways. Right? We can,
I'm going to Bike Week in Florida, so in February.
well, and that's okay too. I mean, we would just plan it for, we would plan it for not that week.
But there's gotta be work outside these meetings,
Yeah.
and somebody's gotta do that, so that's why we're thinking a committee that would work outside these meetings. And bring data back to the whole planning commission to review, and then you guys would prioritize and that.
Heather, can you hear me?
Because first we need to know the assets, right? And what we have to work on or what might.
Yes, Abby, I can hear you.
Do you have any input on this by chance?
So capital improvement plans are exactly what you said. I've not seen a township that I've interacted with that had a full committee that worked on them. It was usually the board and whoever was doing the financial aspect in the township. I think having a committee is a much more intelligent way to approach it. If you guys don't know, I'm from NEMCOG. Sorry, I used to work in township government also. I'm familiar with MTA rules and things like that. Anyway, that being said, having a CIP where you have people who actually are from the different boards deciding what's on that capital improvement plan, like Abby said, you're saving the money, you're allocating funds out of the taxpayer budget, is much more beneficial to the community at large than just having the township board decide what's going on that list. That way you make sure your rec is covered, your cemetery is covered, the things that your fire departments, your community services, everything is covered equally without something being the major focal point. So say somebody wants a pet cemetery, and they're controlling all the funds and what's on that list. Well, who wants a pet cemetery? Seriously, nobody wants a pet cemetery. It's the craziest thing ever. However, when you have that diversity on that board, it really helps. I don't think once you get up and running, you're going to meet more than twice a year. I think you get up and running, you're meeting monthly, you're getting a committee, you're deciding what's on that list. It correlates with your goals that are in your master plan that we're currently working on. And then summer tax bills come in and you say, okay, we got this much and we were expecting this much, but this happened and we need to address this issue. So maybe line 7 comes up to line 3. Like I said, you're maybe meeting twice a year versus the kickoff where you're developing that list. Does that help at all?
Yeah. Is this something that you would you recommend having a community member at large on a committee like this? Or would you keep it just strictly?
I would try and keep it with your people who are already on other committees.
Okay.
Just because they already have an invested interest and they can bring stuff from that Rex committee, they can bring it from the planning commission, they're coming from your township board. Your township doesn't have its own DDA, right?
No, we also don't have a Rex committee. We don't have a cemetery. We don't we have two,
Okay,
maybe 3 parks. I mean, but very limited.
okay.
So the number
Um,
of people that we could pull from who are already on township boards
Right.
is very limited.
So then, yes, I would go with, you could pull somebody from the community that may be sitting on a county park board. You know, something to
Yeah.
that, you know, because I know your rec plan was done at the county level, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I mean, we're doing the master plan from the county downward. So pulling strategic people like that, I could see that. That would be beneficial.
Okay.
Your biggest obstacle in picking any people is their willingness to collaborate and know that it's not their agenda, it's everybody needs to benefit from what's going on. And I say that with the utmost sincerity because I've sat on commissions. You don't want somebody out there for their own personal gain. I'm just trying to be nice and
No,
honest.
that's good.
That's very good.
Good advice. Well, I mean, everybody on this board has something good they could add to this, and so is there any, you are interested? Okay. Anybody else? Then I will.
Okay.
And, you know, Michelle's not here, but Michelle is like on go, so I don't know how she is going to go.
Yeah, and I don't.
Hard for her to do day meetings and.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like you two are the only people interacting with the group, you know, but you guys can, if nothing else, at least be liaisons for everybody else and say, oh, hey, you know, Roxanne, hey, Abby, I talked to Delynn and this is something that we talked about. So can we bring this up at the CIP level so that, you know, whatever.
Well, I mean, we all are out and about in the community and we
Yeah.
talk to people, so if somebody says, well, what about this or that, I mean. The planning commission members should
Yeah,
bring that
absolutely.
up to it,
Absolutely.
and then we should.
Yep.
I
And
mean,
that's,
it's like, there's nothing, no such thing as a dumb idea, you know, I bring everything up and.
absolutely. And that's something that
It
can be
might- it might
communicated in
be 10
email.
out- It might be 12 out of 10, but.
Yeah, but you never know, when 12 moves up
You
to
never
spot
know.
number 2, you know? So that's, again, something that we can communicate in emails with each other, kind of get a plan together before we have a meeting, and then we'll have things to talk about. And, you know, we can bring the budget, we can look at the way that funding has been allocated previously, what we want to see in the future, and go from there.
Right, and getting the CIP done will help us determine, do we need to go for a higher millage? Do we have to ask the voters? Whatever, depending on what we come up with.
I think you guys probably all know this, but I mean, we operate on 1.01 mils, 1.01, I think 03. And we've never asked for a higher millage. So that's the funds that we have to operate on. And we know what that revenue looks like pretty much every year. So,
And there's not a lot of extra, right?
no.
For the committee.
I'm not sure. Heather, do you know that answer?
Normally don't at the board level.
Just
I
say.
didn't actually hear the question. I'm sorry.
Oh, just wondering if we need to make a motion to appoint members from the planning commission to the CIP committee.
I would say, you'd make a motion to recommend them to the board for approval because the board's gonna have to technically approve. I would assume.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Yeah, make a motion.
To
Making too many motions never hurt anybody.
Child. Oh, I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Okay, do we need just a roll call or do we just need show of hands? I don't know. Probably just, okay, do a roll call.
Okay, so Michelle Flavich made a motion to recommend Han Hildreth and Roxanne Brown to the CIP committee, supported by Larry Deer. Roxanne,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
and John.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed.
Okay.
Everyone-
Anything else to discuss on CIP? Are we good?
The only thing I'm wondering is, do we need to say something about having like a member at large or whatever? As well. Otherwise, I don't know how we go out and ask somebody in the community to be a member if you guys haven't approved that. Does that make sense?
Did you, don't you think you should at
I think at
the
the board.
township
Board level?
level,
Yeah.
you should decide that? I think that's probably.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. Okay,
we'll head to that more
Sure.
then.
we'll work on that one. Yes, okay. I think that's it. Heather's gonna do an update on the master plan. I'll let her take that.
Yep, I sure am. So our biggest obstacle with the master plan is public input. Since Abby probably talked to you last, you guys have actually doubled public input on the county level. You went from about 500 survey results to 1,164 currently as I look at the computer. You as a township are just under 500 residents responding, which you have a population of 5,000 residents. So you in the city are carrying the survey results big time. The outlying communities aren't really chipping in, but a couple of them are. I'm not going to say they're not completely, a couple of them are. But if you haven't personally taken the survey or your household hasn't personally taken the survey, I urge you to do so. Abby has paper copies if you don't want to do it online. That's our biggest hurdle again, because when you have a population of 28,000 people, you don't want to show up with 1,000 surveys turned in and somebody say, well, you didn't really talk to everybody. No, we really didn't, because they didn't do the survey. You know what I'm saying? You got to have justification for our goals and anything that we plan out of there. Abby and I met with Huron Pines last Friday to contract their services for the coastal overlay and some coastal information that was part of your coastal resiliency grant. They're going to work on getting us some verbiage to put in a chapter that I will be writing and drafting. We met with Eagle today because they're the source of those funds, and they will accept that drafted chapter as temporary completion of that grant, as long as they have it by December 31st. The original completion was supposed to be the full master plan, but since we have decided to do a county-wide with each municipality, it's a much larger collaboration, which Eagle was excited about, Huron Pines has been excited about, Mishta's excited about. Everyone seems to be really happy that this great big plan is going together and everyone wants to work together. I'm super excited too. It's not a lot of work at all. It's not making me crazy one tiny bit. But that's okay. We'll get through it and it'll be a great plan. Denise is in the background making us maps and pulling in stuff that she has done for Alpena over the years to give us history and basis for our goals, our objectives, everything. I did meet with this joint committee. We call them the mega committee for Alpena in August, right? Is this September? It is. And we went over all the background information, the socioeconomic data, housing information. We went over natural resources. Next time we meet will be October something, 16th, I think.
I believe it's the 16th. I'm
Yeah.
checking right now.
And I'm questioning when these things are because this joint plan is one of 30 plans I'm currently working on. Actually 31 as of today. So I just kind of have to think about when these days are. But when we meet in October, we will be going over your existing land use. Hopefully we have more survey results and I will be compiling the results for a total. I know that somebody was planning on going to the college and trying to get some college students to do it, going to the high school, get some early, not early adults, but excuse me, juniors and seniors maybe with the government class to take the survey so they could do it as maybe an extra credit project. But when you're looking to retain young workforce, capturing what those age groups are looking for would be where I would go. I'm a mother to 9 children, and I made my sons do the survey when it was for our community because I said, we want to know how to keep young people. We know how to get retirees to a community. We need to know how to keep you young people because retirees can't sustain the workforce and the economic upkeep of a community. Questions, comments, concerns for me because I tend to babble and I do it really bad when I'm tired.
Just a reminder, so the next joint master plan meeting is October 16th at 6 p.m. Michelle Woodruff and Roxanne are the liaisons for that. And that's held right here in this building. Do you know what chapters we're going over?
We'll do existing land use. We'll finish up the RAC portion of those natural resource and community service because I forgot those. Yep, sure did. And hopefully go over that survey information. And we will hopefully not have another tornado siren go off in your building because that was quiet and
I forgot
super
about that.
awesome. Yeah, I didn't. That was a fun week.
Okay. So I just ending on that, I would say if you haven't done the survey, do the survey. I have paper copies of it. If anybody in your household has not done the survey, take a paper copy, ask them to do it. Churches, sporting events, whatever, they can scan the QR code or, the paper copies. If you want paper copies, I'll make more of them. And then they can just bring those back here. I scan them in and send them over to Heather for her to tally. So the more we get, the better, because obviously we want to know what the public wants.
And you can skip questions. It is a longer survey. You can totally skip questions. Tell people they can skip questions. It doesn't
Yep.
matter.
Yep. Any input is better than none at all. So.
Yep.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome. You don't need me anymore, Abby? We're good?
Nope, I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay,
Talk
have a good
soon.
night.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'm loud over here. So we didn't put a deadline on the end of the surveys, but in talking to Heather earlier today, she said we're keeping them open at least through the end of taxes. When is that due? The
September
15th?
15th.
Yeah. So at least for another week. And we're just gonna try and rally and get as many as we can. Our goal was to hit just over 2,000. We wanted to, I think it was like 2,100. We wanted to get 10% of the population. We have struggled.
I put
Do we
it
have-
all over my Facebook
I have
page.
too. I've posted on the township's page. I put it on mine.
Up front.
We did.
Coming in to pay taxes.
I'm not sure if
Have a
we still
table
do.
there. They could sit down and fill them out.
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Why don't we do that?
Yep. And like I said, the paper copies are just fine. I just scan them in and send them over to her and she puts all the information in. And if they do the paper, they can skip questions. If they do the scanning, they can skip the questions, whatever. We just need to get as many people as we can. So if everybody goes home and gets 5 people, it just is better for us. Even if they're not even, like, if you know people that are not even in Alpena Township, if they're in the county, just ask them because it all counts.
So we have 500 and we'd like,
I would love if we could get another 500, but
Right.
It's a week.
I know. Well, I mean, it's not, like I said, that September 15th is not like a cutoff point. It was just, we knew we needed to extend it. I'm not sure who is reaching out, but
But we get a lot of traffic this week.
Right,
So it's a
exactly.
Great week to have something set up.
Exactly.
Asking people to take the survey.
Yep. I mean, it really only takes 5 minutes if you look through it. And if you're not comfortable answering the questions, some of them just skip them. But even if one person fills out 3/4 of the survey, that's 3/4 more than we have. Exactly. And the last, I think, 17 or 18 questions are pertain just to the city, which you can fill those out if you want to. If you go downtown or you do things in the city, you can fill it out, but you don't have to, which then cuts it down to like 50 questions. So, yeah, the more the better.
I did it. I filled the city part out too, so.
I did too. Yep.
Me too.
I made everybody in the office do it the day it went out. But here, everybody do this. So yeah, that's all I got.
We'll work on that.
Mhm.
I don't have anything. I can make a motion to adjourn. Are we done?
Are we done? Are we gonna talk about?
Okay.
Nothing? I
What do you
mean,
want to talk
the-
about?
Are we gonna talk about the CIP at all or no?
We can.
I didn't know if we were.
We just
doing
wanted to
committee.
get the committee formed so that we could get rolling on it. That's, I mean, if you have specific questions about it
Yeah,
though,
there's-
No,
or
I don't have
input,
any
then
questions.
Do you have any input?
Well, just from, like I said, just from going to that meeting, there was a guideline in there that you follow to help, not that you necessarily, have to, but like you do your assets. I made a sheet. And then you figure out from there what you want to do and then your needs and your wants. And I didn't know if we were talking about any of that because, I mean, we have the 2024 plan where people took that survey as to what they wanted to see. We're not
Should
going off
talk
of
about
that.
That in the committee, no,
Maybe.
and then bring it
I
back.
think we need the
Okay.
committee to gather all the asset information. and all
Okay,
that.
okay, so that's, the committee will do that and then bring it back.
yeah,
to
but
us.
and
Oh,
definitely if you have information, either I'll make copies of it or email it to me or whatever. And we'll get it distributed to everybody that's on the committee so we can start looking at it and reviewing it. I'm not sure what information you have from 2024.
Just off of the master plan and off the website.
Okay,
You know, how they had surveyed the planning process and the township goals and objectives.
Mhm.
That's kind of where I went.
okay. Yeah,
Just
I mean,
pulled
that's,
information.
it's a starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a starting point. The other thing that we can do, Michelle and I can do, is kind of gather the projects that we're working on right now in this fiscal year. So that we kind of know where we're going. We can look at the road projects that we have going this year so that we can plan for, one of the things that I want to make sure that we have in place is some type of like an extended road plan. So that we're not just going year by year, like, oh, we'll reevaluate and see what we need next year. I would like to have a plan in place so that we can look at it and say, okay, I know that this year we seal coated these 3 roads. So we can put that in our plan for the next 3 to 5 years, that we know in 3 to 5 years, we're gonna have to look at that again. We can reevaluate, does it need to be done? Can we get it by another year? Just those kind of things so that we have more of a long-term plan instead of just kind of flying by the seat of our pants.
CIP?
No,
Okay,
No.
because I was looking for that.
Do we need to
information.
have one?
The city
Yeah.
has one, but I was
Yeah.
looking for that information from the township and I'm like.
yeah, we've never had one.
I remember we discussed it and we went to that meeting, but that was it.
Yeah.
Then it got dropped.
The ball keeps getting dropped on this one, so we're trying to pick up the ball and keep it moving
Right.
forward.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
it's important to have a plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
We can
But
budget
it's-
and
I was gonna say,
everything.
how do you budget without a plan?
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
It's
agree.
whatever is the biggest emergency at
That's
the moment.
It's the truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had. When I worked for MDOT, we got that. I don't know, well. We didn't have a very, as, before 2000, we had a plan, but it was just kind of. We weren't thinking 10 years ahead or.
Yeah, and I really think that's just where we need to be right now. We're looking at the growth on 32. We're trying to spruce up the South Corridor and get businesses coming back into there. So we need to start making decisions for the township that encourages that growth. But it's hard to do that if you don't actually have a plan, because then again, we're just flying by the seat of our pants and somebody throws out an idea and it's like, well, okay, we don't have anything else. Let's just roll with it. But it's not necessarily look like the funding and all of that stuff, the work that it's going to take isn't really always considered. But if we have these things, we can say, oh, well, we talked about that and the planning commission thinks this, and we've looked at funding, we've looked at the budget. This is where we're at with it. We can't do it this year, but maybe we can put it on the plan for next year and we can accomplish, like Heather was saying, we can accomplish line 4, 5, and 6 this year. And then line 7 bumps up to line 4 for the following, and we figure out how we're going to fund it, but to me, it's easier and better to have an extended plan instead of just trying to figure it out.
Because the People's Store is gonna have some kind of a.
Yeah, the Pace building, the Pace.
Building. yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Is
so
it
it's-
open?
No,
Oh,
90
it's
days.
I thought it was open. I don't.
I thought,
They have to
I
wait,
thought it
their-
was too.
they have to wait their 90 days because for new doctors to come, they have to give a 90-day notice. They can't just abandon their patients.
Mm.
So it's in that 90-day phase.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know they were having doctors there.
Yeah, it's like It's a one-stop shop.
So it's in that 90 days. It's gotta be close though.
I was thinking it's gotta be really close because I feel like they were working on that during the ice storm. It's
Something, I think.
But they're working through NIMSCA, because my wife's on the NIMSCA board, and
Mm,
they are working through there, and Jeff Meaden is the,
I think he's the director, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
local guy.
Yep. I went to high school with him. Yep. So like I said, lots of cool things, but how do we get other businesses in there? What are other things that we can do? Looking at the CIP, we can kind of like, I guess full circle comes back to the planning commission and looking at, is there zoning changes that we need to make? Is there ordinance changes that we need to make? What do we need to do to be able to grow the way that we need to grow? And that all kind of comes down to like, what is our goal for the next 5 years or 10 years, however far out of a CIP we decide to go with it. Make those decisions and start rolling. Otherwise, we're just stuck kind of in neutral going, well, like, yeah, that's a cool idea, but well, we can't do it because it's not zoned that way. Or that's a cool idea, but we can't do it because whatever. So if we start looking at those things and trying to think into the future, which I know sometimes can be difficult, but it gives us a better, stronger leg to stand on.
We don't have any mechanism for, like, if somebody develops a property that they get a tax abatement or anything.
There are mechanisms for that with like tips and stuff.
Yeah.
I am not very well versed in that, but
Yeah,
certainly, I was talking to a developer who mentioned that. It's possible. It would just take some legwork and me kind of trying to swim my way through it, but I'm not.
yeah, and see, the city they have an engineering staff, they have, a
Yes.
full-time,
Township has a supervisor.
well, they have, they do.
I'm a one-stop shop too.
It's, has a lot more resources.
Yeah, and so that's where something like this is helpful because, we can lean on everybody to kind of do the research and figure out the things. I'm not gonna have the time all the time to figure everything out. I'm gonna have to depend on everybody else to put in their share and we kind of all just come together and figure it out. But certainly, Tom, someone like you have experience in MDOT. You might have completely different ideas or other suggestions and things that I would never even have thought of. So that's where that all comes together. And like I said, everybody on the planning commission, you all have a voice. Just because Tom and Roxanne are the ones sitting at the table doesn't mean that the information or the idea shouldn't come to us.
When that whole Oxbow subdivision is a flood waiting to happen. I mean, that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I moved here in '85. I think it's flooded half a dozen times.
Well, and again, that gets into doing the reconstruct of the roads and stuff like that. Well, we need to prioritize what roads need to be done first and how do we fund that? Do we need to go for a special millage for roads? What does that look like and how much money do we need if we're going to do that? I know some members of the board had looked into that a few years ago, talking about like needing a special millage. I think it was like 2 mills or something, just to do roads. That's twice what the township brings in as operating millage. So
It was 2 mills for 10 years.
For 10
to
years.
Get our roads.
yeah. So in case you guys don't know this,
Where they should be.
Well-
It's not improving.
right, our millage brings in 400 and I think this year is 436,000 and some change dollars. So that's what we're operating on.
So that's a couple miles of road.
Yeah.
Uh,
Really, not much. That's not.
no, that's not even a couple miles of road, Something else that I think we're gonna have to start looking at, which I need to reach out to the city and talk to them about, is what's gonna happen on Thunder Bay Avenue. I know that when they, in their proposal for Michikiwis there, it showed a parking lot. Well, that's gonna affect our road. Thunder Bay Avenue is a township road. It's paved right now, but it already needs work. And if we're increasing the traffic on there, we're gonna have to look at how are we gonna fund that? Because the other option is that we turn it back to a gravel road, which I think is gonna make a lot of people mad,
Grant,
I don't,
I think.
I don't know. I can't think of one specifically off the top of my head. There are grants available. We talk about this in our transportation meetings. But there's a lot of other things that we would need to get there. Like the state's not just gonna say, oh yeah, you want to fix your road? Here's $1 million.
And usually it's a match grant, like.
Yeah.
Put 100,000 in.
Yeah,
they put it-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like this year for our budgeting, we have $200,000 for roads. So that's almost half of our millage already. Obviously, we get the revenue sharing, which is how we are actually able to operate. But out of that 436,000, 200 of it is for roads that covered, I think the dust control was like $36,000 just in that alone. And then the matching that we did with the county was, I think, 135,000. So that's just for the road projects that the county already has planned out for us.
And the rest was used for emergency.
Right, which we had the one emergency road project at Diamond Point Drive there behind the dentist's office where the culvert caved in. So that was, that's not planned. And then we had another culvert that needed to be repaired. So that kind of stuff, like I said, if we don't plan for it and we're not looking at these big projects down the road, then it all comes out of emergency funding, which is a bad place to be. I don't want to be there. So. If you have questions or whatever, feel free to send me an email, Michelle, whoever, just get in touch with us. Give me a phone call, whatever. All ideas are welcome.
Don't we make motion to adjourn? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sure.
Next meeting's